Hello everybody, can you hear me? How is everybody? Hey Eddie, Addy, thanks for joining. Let me check a few things and I'll be right there. I got some technical issues with my display, so I had to figure out a few things. Sorry for the slight delay. But that seems to work. Loud and clear, perfect. Thanks a lot. Alright, that seems to work as well. Perfect. So a few people on Twitch and on YouTube. Hey everybody on YouTube. It's been a while since I streamed the last time here. I streamed for a while now on Twitch only because I wanted to, I don't know, figure things out. But I thought since it's the last stream for this project here, that it might make sense to do a stream here on YouTube as well, just as a closure for the project. So what you can see here is a test render. It's quite dark. I just switched out the HDR image for the rendering. So there's a night scene and I still have to add a few key lights there. Just for look development, I'm in the middle of texturing and shading of the armor pieces and all of that. But for the stream, my main focus will be the skin and the eyes as well as the mouth. So the rest of the armor is still heavily work in progress, so I won't go too much into detail there. And for everyone here that just joined, this is a model that I'm doing for the Fantasy Sculpting Challenge from Rafael Grassetti. He set out a challenge a month ago with a theme of fantasy creatures, and the goal is to sculpt a bust of a fantasy creature, and I thought I would do a Necromancer giant. So the usual connotation or association with giants is that they're dumb, brutish creatures, and I thought, why not give it a more intelligent twist and make him into a wizard. So I thought it might be interesting to explore. So let me open a normal project like this, and I'm just opening the tool for that one. So projects and Necromancer. Still have to set up a few things, so bear with me. Like I said, I want to focus on the skin. I will probably rework the skin textures that are already started. And I can show you some renderings that I did of that. And it's still way too patchy, not the color, the hue is not where I want it to be. I want it to be darker. Right now it's very greenish, reddish, but yeah, there's still a few things to tweak on the skin, and I want to change the details that I have here on the nose, for example. Let me see. Yeah, here you can see the details here. I kind of like them, but they're not as skin pores on the nose are. So maybe changing that might improve the overall look. But yeah, I want to go over the skin textures here and add the eyes and all of that. So hey Michael, thanks for being here. Eddie, pretty cool looking. Is it vertex paint or did you had a retopo? I did a retopo and still used the poly painting functions here in ZBrush for the painting, and then I baked them down into a texture map. So you can see here, and this is the the shading, or not the shading, the texturing that I did here in ZBrush. Let me switch to that tool here. So this is the, or these are the textures that I painted up to this point. It's very rough still. My main goal was to have a layer of a lot of hue variations and small veins and all of that to give it a base noise or base texture. And now I want to bring things together and hopefully make it more appealing than it is at the moment. So, and I still have to add a few details on the lips, but I won't do that today. I want to focus on the texturing for now. And I did the retopology on this one just with the zero measure. I painted a few polygroups here just to have zero measure put in some edge loops there. I wanted to have them specifically here, and it was good enough for me to just progress further. So I did an unwrap of the model and started with the texturing, and then baked out the maps and all of that and put them in Blender into the skin shader. So this was the last rendering that I did just for the skin, and the Blender scene here I just started with a new HDR map. So and just to be upfront, I'm a bit all over the place at the moment because I want to get to a finish line with this project, since the deadline is on Sunday this week, on the 20th, and there's still a lot to do, so I'm a bit puzzled where to go next or what to focus on next. But what I wanted to do is to place the, or replace the eyes, sorry, to replace the eyes with some eyes that I did on another project, and these are here. So I just have to place them accordingly. So this is the eye setup, and it has an outer shell and an inner shell, and this is the eye here, and underneath that is a small little piece of geometry that blocks the light. It will just get a black shader there. And a really important thing is this geometry piece here that emulates the liquid of the eye, so like tears or something like that. It's fairly important to get a nice looking eye. And what I want to do now is to place them in the right place for the head here, and then I will export that back into ZBrush and all of that. So today will be a bit of jumping around from software to software, and a mix of sculpting, texturing, shading, rendering, all of that. So hopefully there's a little bit of of interesting stuff going on for some of you. And if not, sorry for that. But as always, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will try my best to answer them. And the stage right now is something that I'm not that used to. Normally I'm just focused on modeling and not so much on look development. So it might be a bit messier than usual, even messier than usual. But yeah, it might be a fun journey nonetheless. So let's see. Let's select that and put it into place. I like to align the stuff from one view first and then switch over to the next one. So, hey Santiago, thanks for joining. All right, this looks good. Now let's put it right here. It's currently looking directly straight to his front, but I will pose him later. So let's see. I want to have the pivot of this piece here in the center. So I'm gonna snap it right here, and this way I can rotate it around the eye, more or less. Hello everybody, thanks for joining. Alright, so I'm gonna place it somewhere here and move it further down. So I have to adjust that in ZBrush since I don't see the final result here. So let's freeze transformations. And I'm jumping between softwares here because I want to do the look development in Blender, or I wanted to. Trying out a few things, see what works best. There are a few really handy plugins in Blender that make the shader setup fairly quick. But other things are better in Maya, or I'm more used to that, so it's a bit of back and forth. Anonym04, hey, thanks for joining. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate that thing, group it, mirror it over, and freeze transformation. So, and let's search and replace, left with right, that looks good. Just renaming things here to stay more or less organized. There we go. Spitz9, hi Fynn, coming along nicely. Good luck on finishing up your Grassetti entry. Thanks a lot, really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope I'll be finished by the end. The emergency plan, or plan B, is that I just do a clay render, just a gray standard material with all the displacements on it and hopefully nice lighting. And then I will do the texturing look development afterwards, just for my portfolio. But this is plan B. I will try to be on time with all the textures and shaders and all of that. So just don't sleep. Yeah, this is probably the content of my next days. So work, 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 and no sleep, more or less. Yeah, but I think I'm still able to finish it, so we will see how far I can get. Santiago, where can I find that challenge? Let me pull that up actually. Sculpting. Where is it? He published a video on his YouTube channel. I will quickly pull it up. So you guys can see it as well. So sculpting challenge. It's part of a reviewed video, it seems like, but I will just post the link to the official website. So there's the link. ADI, how in-depth of lighting skills would a character artist need? I don't think too much, to be honest. Good enough to be able to showcase your models and present them that they can be seen by art directors and all of them to approve characters and all of that. But I don't think too much. Like most of the studios have like a general look development scene, like a master scene, where you just can import your files and then apply the standard shaders with the textures plugged in. But I don't think too much. I hope. I'm not quite sure. But what is important for a character artist is, as far as I know, like modeling, obviously, topology, that is really important, texturing, UVs and texturing, and then baking out all the maps and stuff for look development artists. Sometimes the character artists do the shaders as well, but it depends on the studio and the pipeline that they have. So, DK, you do retopology in last stream. I don't know. I can't remember actually. Maybe. I think I did a bit of retopology last stream. Mainly the armor pieces, if I'm not mistaken. So. All right. So let's save out these two here. Under projects. Nope. That still works. All right. You're very welcome, 80. So, characters and Necromancer. It's a bit all over the place here. So, eyes. Come on, 0, 1. There we go. Alright, and I'm gonna import that here into ZBrush so I have them in place as well. So Z plugin, FBX, import, and there we go. Let's see if they are in the right place or not. So insert, feels like they are. All right, perfect. Let me try if I can create a folder here where I can put these two in, and then, hey, why is there only one? It didn't save the transformation somehow. That's strange. Let me see. It should work actually. Alright, everything is in one place, so what I can do is to mirror these things over. So mirror mirror, mirror, mirror. There we go. Now we should have them correctly. So new folder, eyes, just put them in here. And I have to create the textures only for one side, so, because they share the same UV spaces, and then I can just apply them on both. So let's see if I can. I don't think I can send over a whole. No, it's not possible. So today will be a bit of back and forth. Sorry for that, but it's part of the process. So, all right. Let's put that underneath here. So insert, iris, switch. It's a bit tedious, but I think it's still faster than if I would do it otherwise. I don't know a better way right now. I hope that at one point ZBrush will implement a Python integration. That would be really, really great, just to automate a few things. So let's put them underneath here. There we go. And let's see how well they are in place. I think that's decent. Let's see, how do I do that? I will do it for one side and then mirror it over later. So this geometry here will become just a transparent liquid, and it adds a few specular highlights here and there, which adds quite a lot, I hope. So this is intersecting here. Hey Rahul, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. If you just joined, today will be a bit all over the place, since there's a bit of back and forth probably going on between a few softwares, and it's like texturing and shading and rendering. And right now I'm setting up the eye setup and hopefully finish that soon. So gonna duplicate that, put that up here, delete this one, rename this one to that, and mirror it over. So now we have it both in place. Alright, let me pull up the rendering here again. So I don't like that it's so patchy. I don't like the hue that much yet. And the specular map is not really doing anything right now. So still have to change that and then add like imperfections and all of that. I think this will add quite a lot as well. And I want to darken the tattoo. 80. Is the transparent layer present in all human eyes or just your style choice? I feel it really add that charm to the model as you'll render. If you mean that piece of geometry here for the like tier liquid, this is probably everywhere on all animals and all of that. Like if the eyes do have a wet surface, then usually there is a little bit of buildup of liquid around the bottom eyelid. So as far as I know, in all the feature films and like the realistic models for commercials and all of that, this is included. Not only on humans, but on animals as well, and creatures and everything that want, where you want the eyes to be natural and, how do you say that? You feel like they have life in them, as far as I know. Alright, I think I'm gonna hide the rest of the body just to make my PC a bit faster. As you can see, I have like 71 million points there, so quite a heavy scene. That was quite a tip, mate. I'll make sure I implement. Thanks, you're very welcome. I hope it adds more to your render as well. And having a slight curvature in the iris, I think this is more known. You can see that it isn't as round here as it is here, or it's rounder here than here, since there's a slight bulge underneath the, or that is forming in the iris. So you get some nicer refractions on the iris below. So the cornea, exactly. All right, let's see this in place. What I can do is I can hide the corneas, and I can then do the detailing and texturing of the iris. So this one here. And good thing that I'm doing that here in ZBrush, because I can see that I still have to change the model here. Oh no. So it doesn't cut through the eyelid. Oh. The autosave will take a while because it is a heavy scene. But yeah. So let's hide a few things that we only end up with the head itself. Santiago, what do you think that differentiates Grassetti from most of artists? I mean, the output of personal projects is immense. Discipline, that is for sure a huge part of that. He's in the business for quite a while, so I don't know, probably 15 years or more. More, I think. I think he started in the early 2000s. But yeah, personal projects, that is a big one. He's sharing a lot of stuff that he's doing. There are a lot of artists out there that are really great, but they don't share their stuff because they're not interested in that, or they're not into that social media game. So this is a huge factor. And just the mileage of sculpting and doing characters, and since he is an art director now and used to be a lead character artist, he knows the entire pipeline. He's really fast at like concepting and sculpting and texturing and making something presentable. So most of the images that he is putting out on Instagram, for example, they are probably a day worth of work, if not even a few hours, but they look like finished characters. And I think he really mastered or got really good at doing fast prototypes, like iterations, and making something presentable from one angle. And he knows where to cut corners by saying, I will do that in comp, or I will do that in the model. I will do that in texturing, or I will just use a photo texture and put it over it for the final render. And he's really, or it seems to me like he's really fast in just finishing stuff, getting stuff out. So, hey Slay, I just started like 20 minutes, half an hour ago, so not too late. So thanks for joining. Alright, I wanted to change the model here. Just enough so that it doesn't intersect with the eyeball anymore. Otherwise I would see that in the transparency here. That would show up. And the same goes for the lower part here. This is stuff that I only notice when I'm progressing further, like doing the shading, doing the rendering, because in the model I would have these eyeballs in place. They're just faking some eyeballs, and I wouldn't see all the not clean enough places. So, Ange, finally he is back to YouTube. Yeah, it's been a while. Since this will be the last stream for this project, I thought it would be nice to stream on YouTube as well. So thanks everybody for joining. And my plan for the next streams is to do like shorter projects, maybe like speed sculpts that are contained within just one stream and not dragged out along like month of multiple streams. So maybe that's a bit more fun for me and for you as well. I feel like there builds up quite some expectations for me and some pressure when I'm working on a project for so long. And if it then, oh no, did it crash? No, autosave. How about action poses? I thought about like anatomy studies. God damn it, it crashed. Like anatomy studies that could be in poses as well, or just heads and all of that. Like shorter things, maybe similar to the stuff that like from the scope, similar to what Rafael Grassetti sometimes does. Not because he is doing it, but just as an overall comparison. And I want to get back to like more frequent and shorter projects. In action poses, I think would be interesting to have like anatomy references, like from live drawing that I could sculpt from, and get some mileage done with just pure sculpting. Santiago, yep, I think so too. He's great, man. So, Lightbox, quick save. Let's get that tool here. Thanks, appreciate it. Beacon, hello to you as well. Thanks for joining. Come on. There we go. Hopefully it will not crash too often today. That's oftentimes really annoying, so. Alright, this is a bit cleaner. I think I'm gonna change these parts here as well, because I want to change the position of the eyes later, and if I'm not doing that here, then it will just cut through the iris again. So gonna change that here. And for anybody that just joined, I'm working on the Necromancer giant that I'm doing for Rafael Grassetti's Sculpting Challenge, and it's a bit, how do you say that? The scope of the project became a bit larger than I anticipated, but I think it's going in a good direction. This is a very dark early rendering of the entire model, and I think I will do some lighting later. I will just add a key light so you can see more of the details. And I'm currently working on the face, the skin, and the eyes. So still quite a lot to do, and I hope to be able to finish it till Sunday. This is where the deadline is. But like I said earlier, my plan B is to just render a gray shaded model and then do the texturing and look development for my portfolio afterwards. So, Beacon, wait, you have finished the woman project like you printed it in real life? Yes, actually I finished that a month ago, a bit earlier. And everything is printed, like the renderings are done. I can show you all as well. Let me pull that up. So this is the rendering of the final female study. This is the skeleton. So I will post the pictures soon on ArtStation and Instagram probably. So then you can see them in full resolution as well. So this is the full resolution. And that was quite a long project as well. So thanks, Beacon. Alright, I think this is good. Maturian, but it went well, I would say. Nicely done. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how it turned out as well. There are, of course, a lot of things or areas where I thought I could still, or I could have kept working on, but that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I just thought now it's a time where it's finished better than perfect. And Rafael Grassetti called out this challenge, so it was a good timing. Alright, so this is in place. What I will be doing now is to do a rendering of this one. Or not a rendering, a texturing. So let's see if the UVs work well. So I'm gonna subdivide it a few times. Let's see how the resolution holds up. Draw, put it to 0.1. I think that's okay. Maybe one subdivision higher. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do a layer for a pose because I want to unify the thing. And what it hopefully allows me to do is to go to transform and activate radial symmetry. So let's turn on Z. No, not Z. X. Transform. There we go. That works. That works well. Perfect. And now I'm doing another layer, and this is where we'll be sculpting all the details on. And what it allows me is to use the radial symmetry without having it in the center, or if I undo the pose here, it's back in the eye. So you can see this layer here sets it in the middle there. Let me actually try one thing out. Maybe that isn't necessary at all. If I use local symmetry, I don't have to do that, so forget all of that. Still a lot to learn. Alright, so sculpting. I actually don't need that layer here as well. So, alright. But what I'm gonna do is to use a morph target, and let's get going. So there are a few fibers, few things, a few layers that I want to establish first. Emra, hey, how are you? I'm doing fine. I'm a bit all over the place today because there's still a lot to do here on the model, and the deadline is on Sunday, so I'm a bit in a hurry and a bit all over the place because there's a lot of new stuff going on that I'm not that used to, like with the look development and shading and all of that. So, but other than that, I'm doing pretty well. How are you? Let's get a eye reference. And pull up the reference sheet here, and I'm gonna put in, let's see, maybe this one, or this one is quite nice as well. Devin, is this a personal project or for a larger project? This is a personal project for an art challenge. It's a challenge by Rafael Grassetti. He created a sculpting challenge, and I just finished my earlier project, the female anatomy study, and so I thought, why not jump on board with this one? And yeah, this is where I am right now. So quite a lot to do. These are a few test renders here that I did earlier, and the sculpting is more or less done. I will probably touch up a few things here and there, but right now it's more about look development and yeah, getting all the objects and all the textures and all the UVs, low poly models, all of that for the rendering. So it's quite heavy. There are like 30 objects here that I have to texture, render, and bake all the displacement maps for. So still a long way ahead of me. Thanks, Devin. Really appreciate it. So I think I'm gonna go with more like this iris here. So what I'm gonna do is mask things out. So let's mask out this area here first. And then I'll be using the move brush to create some layers. So now that the main shape is in place, I will create some hopefully interesting shapes. Not quite sure why it is jittering that much, but yeah, as long as it's not crashing all the time, it should be fine. Alright, and now to the negative spaces. I recently saw a video of the slow-mo guys, I think, on YouTube, and they did a like slow motion video of the iris, like a close-up, and it's actually a lot of fibers that are interconnected and that are on different layers, and when it's opening and closing, it's all like not intersecting but overlapping each other and moving in different ways, which is pretty neat to look at. Alright, now that that is in place, I will just inverse the mask, put radial symmetry back on, and then lift up the inner part here of the eyeball. And there we have a more interesting section here. And I'm gonna go with the inflate brush. Let's see, something's table pressure. This seems to fine. The brush feels a bit light, so not very responsive. Still should be fine. So I'm using the inflate brush here because I want to have these strings, and with the standard brush the fall off isn't that nice for this kind of detail. So I'm using the inflate brush for that one. And as always, if anyone has any questions about what I'm doing or even unrelated things, just let me know. Mauricio, hey Fynn, I was missing your lives. Yeah, sorry for that. I decided for a while to stream only on Twitch. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was the right decision. But what I'm thinking about is to make the streams less frequent, so maybe 1 or 2 times a month, and then focus on making proper videos again. But yeah, still everything is more or less up for change. Uncertain times at the moment. Angel, is it the right way to pronounce your name? Not quite sure if it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can we sculpt like this on Autodesk Maya, or is it harder? What are the differences between Maya and ZBrush? You cannot sculpt like this in Maya. There are a few sculpting tools in Maya, but they're very rudimentary, and I don't think you can sculpt in subdivisions and all of that. So Blender is a bit closer to ZBrush now, and the main difference is ZBrush is primarily designed for sculpting on very high poly meshes. So my scene has 74 million points at the moment, which is quite a heavy scene, but the performance is still pretty good, because ZBrush handles a lot of polygons very well, and it's not they're not how do you say that? It's not either Maya or ZBrush. It's most of the time it's a combination of both. The same with Blender as well. So they're complementary programs and not competing programs. All right, let's do some fibers here in the middle. Alright. Just roughing up a few edges. And I think a few deeper grooves, I think, will enhance the look a bit. So there's actually some displacement going on here. And I want to fill in the holes here as well. Alright. I will also give these a slightly more defined edge, or yeah, edge. Let's keep it that way. Since I'm using a displacement map, I will only have just a 2D map. I can't do any overhangs like this, because this will not be incorporated into a displacement map. I would need to have a vector displacement map for that can create these overhangs. Otherwise I can just offset like in one direction with the displacement map. I'm not going around corners and all of that. Alright. Some deeper cuts here. Maybe I'm adding a few oval shapes again in here, just like this. Donald, thanks. There are some people that are doing like full-on hair systems for eyes to simulate the fibers that you can see here. And I think there are skinned irises out there as well. Just don't have access to them. Thanks, Antonio. Glad you like it. Alright. I think that's okay. Let's do a masking by cavity. And then I can increase the or I should be able to. Yeah, there we go. just increase the details a bit more, make them a bit more, yeah, pop. So just want to make sure that I don't have something going on here, or maybe a little bit of surface detail here might not hurt. So let's see if I'm using the inflate brush here, or the inflate deformation -2. That's way too strong. -1. It's already too strong as well. Crazy. Then I'm just using a brush for that. And I think that is crisp enough for me. All right. I think I'm gonna push iris closer to the center, something like that. Nestor, I'm not quite sure if that is the question, but if you're asking who Rafael Grassetti is, he is an art director, the art director of Sony Santa Monica. It's a game studio in the US. They're responsible for Gears, God of War, for example. And he set out a sculpting challenge. The theme is fantasy creatures, and the goal is to do a bust of a fantasy creature. And so I decided to do a Necromancer, a giant, because it felt like a nice twist of a normally dumb creature into more of a wizard. So this is what I'm working on right now. And this is the start, or the start of the texturing. And right now I'm working on the eyes, since I want to get to a final image, hopefully till Sunday. If I'm not able to finish all the look development, like texturing, shading, and rendering, lighting, and all of that, I will do clay render and do the look development later for my portfolio. But I hope to be done in a few days, and then we can see what's next. So, Mauricio, fun fact, Rafael Grassetti is from my country, Brazil. There are actually a lot of really talented artists, especially sculptors from Brazil. It was mentioned a few times in like podcasts already that there's a lot of artists from Brazil that are really talented sculptors, which is kind of fun. But yeah, like Glauco Longhi, for example, he is another sculptor from Brazil. He is pretty great. And I think, is Fausto De Martini? I think he's from Brazil as well, if I'm not mistaken. But he's another really, really great concept artist, sculptor, modeler, all of that. All right. So my aim for the eyes is actually to have something similar to these eyes, but I want the iris to be seen a little bit, so this is why I'm sculpting that here. Mauricio, yeah. I mean, it starts with the people, so hopefully this will trickle down at some point. I mean, when it comes to studios and big projects, there aren't that many countries to go to. Unfortunately, like the US is the leader when it comes to like big budgets for projects, especially film. But it's changing, I think, and it will probably change more rapidly than we anticipate now. Not that I know of something, but this is, I don't know, a gut feeling. All right. So let's give some kind of a yellow beginning. And layer it with white. So let's put a spray and this color here. All right, and how do I do that here in the middle? There should be a darker ring. I'm not quite sure what eye color I should give him. Maybe a red one or dark brown one. I think a dark brown one might be the most fitting one. Maybe into the gold direction. So very dark, something like that. And around that here. Let's do some masking. Masking, mask cavity, inverse, and just to make the details pop a bit more. And now to the main color. I'm just getting rid of the color that I painted before, but that's fine. Let's do another mask per cavity, and I want to let the highlights pop a bit. So let's turn that off. Just highlighting the edge here to separate the layers. I think that's always a good idea, so that if you have multiple layers, that you have some kind of value change in there to separate them visually. But it might look completely different in the renderer than what I'm anticipating right now. So take it with a grain of salt. And let's get in some darker values. Like I said earlier, this is something that I'm not that used to with all the look development, so it's quite far out of my comfort zone. And this is why it's taking so long, probably. Hey Jay, thanks man, appreciate it, and thanks for joining. Hey Sculptor Revive. Miguel, hey Fynn, you're a massive inspiration to me. Keep it up, looking awesome. Thanks man, appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. If there are any questions out there that I might be able to answer, just let me know. For the texturing here, I don't know if I should give out any advices because, yeah, like I said, this is not my comfort zone. I'm not that used to too much, but hopefully it turns out still nice. 45 on the stream. Yeah, it shows me actually 50 people, so thanks everybody for joining. Really appreciate everyone being here. And yeah, I'd like to aim these streams here to be, I don't know, inspirational, motivational, informative, educational, whatever. Hopefully bring some value to you. So if there are any questions or things you would like to talk about, even if they're off topic from the stuff that I'm doing right here, please feel free to add that or write that in the chat. And yeah, just hanging out and having a good time. Yeah, thanks everybody for liking as well. I heard that it helps the algorithm, so whoever clicked on the like button, thank you very much. All right, this looks good. This will be the liquid for the tears, just to give it some more specular highlights. Miguel, are you from Deutschland? Yes, I am. I grew up in Germany and stayed here ever since, except for half a year in Belgium. Other than that, I'm living here. I think I shouldn't have done the change here because it will be intersecting here with the cornea. So, alright. Where are you people from? Sometimes there's a huge mix of people here, so if anyone would like to share where they are from, that would be nice. Dark taught me well then. Dark from Netflix taught me well. Now apparently I can recognize the accent. Ah, I see. Yeah, Dark was really popular. Very unusual for German television shows. But yeah, I heard really good things about it, and a few friends of mine actually worked on it, which is pretty cool. Miguel, I'm from Brazil, as many people who follow you and other 3 artists. Awesome. Nicek. Hopefully I pronounced your name somewhat correct. What program are you using and what are you making right now? I'm using ZBrush at the moment, and I'm doing a fantasy creature, a bust of a Necromancer, a giant. It's a, I don't know, fantasy creature, and I designed this character here on the stream as well, and this is something that I based the whole project on. And what I'm doing right now is the last steps for concentrating only on the look development. So I want to finish the textures and the like all the displacement maps and low poly models, and have every objects in place so that I can jump back into Blender that you can see here. I started with the look development already, but I still have to add a few things. So you can see that the mouth has no colors yet, no details. I still have to add a few details on the lips, and the eyes are gray shaded and simple spheres at the moment. So yeah, this is what I'm working on at the moment. And the rest here is only with normal maps right now, because I haven't saved out the displacement maps yet. So everything is still coming together at the moment, which is kind of a messy part of the project. So this is why I'm focusing on one thing after the other for the stream today. Sarah, thanks for joining. Thank you for the information. You're very welcome. Will this live be uploaded as a video on YouTube? I thought I would do the, or I would keep the stream public for this one, since it will be the last stream for this project. And the recent live streams that I did on Twitch, they're all available on my Patreon page. So I have quite a few live streams there already, like archived, together with the recent projects that I did. For example, the anatomy study. This started from a sphere and turned into this final project here, and I covered like 99% of the project on stream, so this is all available on my Patreon as well, and some other stuff as well. So how does the liquid thing work? Talking about the eye part. What I will later do is to give it a transparent shader that makes only the specular highlights visible. So I will make it completely transparent with a higher specular value, and this gives the impression that there's a little bit of a buildup of liquid on the upper eyelid, and this gives a bit of connection between like the eyeball and the eyelids. Otherwise, it sometimes feels a bit disconnected, that there is like a glass eyeball, like a how you say that, a fake eyeball inside, and this little bit of liquid adds quite a lot. So, Mio, I found you randomly and now I'm addicted to watching this. Oh, awesome to hear. Thanks for joining. Shreya, hey Fynn, awesome character you have done. Thanks. Miguel, go watch his timeless videos, it's really cool. Thanks Miguel, appreciate it. Shreya, did you do retopology for this character? Yep, this is something that I did here in ZBrush. Not the best topology because I wanted to be quick. I did a zero mesh retopology and I defined a few polygroups before doing that, just to have some very specific edge loops here laid out with zero mesher. But this is something that I did here in ZBrush. So, and then I did the UVs with the UV master as well. Well, welcome, Ian. Let's see what to do next. I think what I'm gonna do next is let's actually test it out, I would say. So I will hide everything except for the eyes, except for one eye, and then I will bake out the maps and bring it into Blender to do the shading for that. So what I'm gonna do is gonna use the lowest subdivision here so that only the lowest subdivisions are visible, and then I'm gonna use the FBX exporter to export out the eyes. So characters, Necromancer, eyes, version 2. So it's only saving out the visible ones here, the visible parts, and let's save out the maps, so multi-map exporter, texture from Polypaint, and I want to bake out a displacement map for that as well. And not an 8K, that's way too much. So 4K for this one. Let's see, displacement map, I want to have it subdivision level 1, and by default all of these settings are off, and I think mid is set to 0.5. So what I like to do is to set it to 0, smooth UVs, save out 3 channels, not just one color channel but 3, 32-bit, and let's leave it as a TIFF file. So scale stays at 1, and I will create all maps, and I will just save out textures and put it in here. So save that. That should be fairly quick. There we go, really fast. And we can jump back here into Blender. So what I wanted to do is to hide a few things here, so it's a bit faster for the look development. So I'm gonna hide the... Alright. Hide a few things here. There we go. I want to keep that. The teeth I can keep as well. Why are these ones not? At the moment I don't know where they are. I don't know. I find the outliner in Blender somewhat strange. Where's the object of this one? Huh. Strange that it still displays them. Let's hide them this way first. There we go. And let's show these two lights here at least. So this one and this one. Let's jump into the camera, lock camera to view, and let's see how that looks first. This will take a moment just to initiate the scene. And it seems like the displacement map for the skin isn't working at the moment. Probably I changed a few things there, but I just want to see if the overall light setup and shading and all of that works. And of course the hiding of the meshes didn't make any difference for the rendering, which is really annoying in Blender. I really don't like that. In Maya, if you hide a thing in your scene, it's not visible in the render as well. And in Blender, you have to go into each object and make it or disable it for the render. So this is a bit annoying, I find, at least. Alright, let's abort that. Maturian. Don't know why they have that in there. And to be honest, I don't know right now how to make them visible again. So scenes, view layer. You can pin render view in the outliner, so you'll have the eye and the TV looking icon. Yeah, I do have that here already, I think. Or is it this one? I mean, I have the disable in renders, but somehow Alt-H for unhide. Alright, let's try that. Thanks, Jay, for helping me out here. Alt-H, this unhides everything. The TV, that makes... It's confusing that it says disable in renders, but it's not actually doing that. So it's disable in viewports globally, disable in viewports. So let's try that. Tetarx? Sorry. Do you think it's better to start 3D with Cinema 4D or Blender? I would say Blender. And the eye will make it invisible. The TV will disable it from cache and the cam will disable render. So viewport is even when you do render within the viewport. I see. Disable and render is like final output, like if you did it TIFF. I see. I see. Jay, can you tell me how to access... Oh, that's fine. I found them. Alright. Let's hide all of that. Armor frames. That looks okay. I still have to get used to the outliner here. I find it quite different from the ones that I know from Maya and all of these. Leptomi, hello, speak Spanish? No, unfortunately not. Sorry for that. Hinami, where are you from? I'm from Germany. Yeah, the empty parenting stuff is so annoying. I hope they will one day make a grouping system that is not parenting. Yeah, that would be great. I use collections if you're just grouping in the outline and trying to drive animation or whatever. Then you can also just straight up disable collections with a checkbox. Oh, I see. Yeah, I do have a collection for the entire character. Maybe I should do some sub collections. Not quite sure if that is a thing. But yeah. Hinami. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious to... yeah, if you know German, then you will get my accent. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Leptomi. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I think I imported an FBX with the group system in Maya, and I think it automatically translated them into these parenting things. So. And in Maya it's empties as well, but it somehow is more organized than it seems here. And usually when I disable the group in Maya, it affects all the childs below, which is not the case here in Blender, unfortunately. Oh yeah, I saw that with the color coding. Luke Tommy just subscribed, thanks. Thanks, really appreciate it. Hinami, das angenehm, so viele Leute sind zurzeit im deutschen Grafikbereich sozial aktiv. Are they? I'm not that active in the German artist community. I'm not sure if there is something like that, but cool to hear. Ella just subscribed. Thanks. Thanks. And someone subscribed whose name I can't read. Sorry for that, but thanks for your subscription. I think the only German artist that I know more in depth that I can think of in my head is Jamila Knopf. But I don't know if she is active on social media at the moment. Hinami. Yeah, I mean, the German audience is just too small. I mean, like 3D and all of that, and even 2D is still a niche thing in comparison to, like, I don't know, sports or whatever. Or gaming, and the audience, even when I'm streaming in English, is still quite small. And if I would just do it in German, that would be quite a lot smaller again. So Benny Productions is from Austria. I don't know about that one. Let me see. Oh, he's a bit more popular. Cool stuff. Yeah, and he's more into 2D. Yeah, 2D I think is still doing quite well, but yeah, 3D is even more niche. Maturian. Yeah, same here. probably. All right, so let's do another test render just to see if the stuff is actually not visible right now. And sorry if my laptop is loud at the moment. I will try to move the mic a bit away. Alright, the hood is still in place. So how to get rid of that? Let's see. I'll just do that for the icon here as well. Let's do so. Hopefully it's not rendering that now. Jay, yeah, next time you get a sec, I'll just save a startup file with those options visible. Oh, there we go. That looks much better. You mean to save that in the preferences, or? Not quite sure. Or just for the scene that it's not visible there. Alright, that seems to work, which is quite cool. Let's see what the displacement map says here. Alright, I don't have any modifier on here. It makes sense. So let's do 3, something like that. Smooth corners. You can save it in the startup files, so every new file will get those setups. I see. File. I mean, as long as I know where these options are and which to click on, I think I progressed already a little bit. I think you have to save a startup file with them showing, so you don't have to always go back and enable them. Yeah, I wish it was universal. Like if I disable it in the viewport, that it's automatically disabled in the rendering and everything else as well. But yeah. Let's see. Lines, sampling, advanced, settings, there we go. Displacement and bump, this is what I want. Cinema 4D is even worse. Yeah, I never worked with Cinema 4D. A few friends of mine do, and they actually really like it, but I was always a bit put off by it, not quite sure why. They like a cluster of dots, 2 green dots, all visible, green dot, red dot, 2 red dots. Stupid. Yeah, so I was sitting next to a friend of mine while he was doing like look development and all of that, and it didn't feel intuitive at all. So yeah, it's quite strange. All right, that works. The render, let's do like 3 for the look development here, so we don't get too crazy poly counts. And I want to insert the eyes. Hopefully it works, and of course it doesn't. So Let's put them in a collection. Wait. So it sits somewhere here. Not quite sure why it's all the way down there, but it's probably because of the scaling. So let's do an import again, FBX, and let's do the scaling of 100, not 100, maybe 10. And the eyes again. So the scaling seems to work, not quite sure why the placement wasn't correct. But as long as I can put it into place here, then it's fine. This item is placed like this. Oh, I see. Thanks, Jane. Yeah, it's probably somewhere down there. Shift S brings it... cursor to world origin. It's actually set to the world origin, so I'm not quite sure what the issue was there. Liquid pupil. Let's do a new collection. Eyes. And let's see. I just copy and pasted the offset. So yeah, I think I offsetted the model of the body and the armor pieces to that number for whatever reason. But as long as it's just an translation offset, I think it's still fine. Let's put a mirror modifier on all of them. So mirror this one. Then mirror, mirror, and cornea mirror as well. So there we go. Maturian. What do you mean with fat finger? I don't know that term, even in German. All right, let's do a subdivision modifier here as well. Subdivision 1 here. Pressed the wrong button by accident. Ah, I see. I see. All right, now it makes sense. Then the iris becomes a subdivision surface, subdivision modifier as well, and I will increase the number here a bit higher, something like that. For the liquid, let's do just 1. So like this, and the cornea is 2. That's good as well. Nick Maris the Wolf. Hey, thanks for stopping by. All right. So let's do some shading here. So this one will be transparent. I think it's transmission, if I'm not mistaken. Are there any checkboxes that I have to click for transparent objects? I don't know if anyone knows of that, because I know in Maya there are with Arnold. So displacement and bump, the same with the iris as well. Displacement and bump. Oh yeah, render settings, film. So render settings, film. Ah, transparent. Ah, I see. You need to make the settings in your material. So settings, refraction depth. No, I think that should be fine. Transparency options per material. I set the, not the transmission for this one, but for the cornea. Is it transmission, blend and shadow mode? Alpha blend or hashed, not quite sure. Interpolation sampling. Blend mode. Opaque. Alpha blend. And alpha hashed, not quite sure. Scroll down. Alpha clip, no. Alpha hashed, nope. So it changed something, but I'm not quite sure if it changed the setting. I forget which does the... I see. Alpha clip, alpha hashed. Yeah, I think I will do a test render with this one. So wish us luck. Viewport render. Yeah, I can switch to the viewport render after this. Is there a way to render regions in this render view, or is it no, that didn't work. So alpha hashed. Blend mode. Is it blend mode or shelf below render settings? This one here. Let's try to get the transparency working. Transparent glass. Transmission clicker, normal IOR, clicker chain. Metallic off. Not quite sure why metallic was on by default. Is it showing? I think it's... Is there an iris there? Checkbox render region is below your resolution. Let's see. Ah, I see. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Alright, it's not transparent yet. I mean, the transmission is doing something, but it's not showing me anything below that. It's not backface color. Nope. Let me Google it quickly. Blender 2.9 transparent material. Let's see. Basic transparent material. Yep. Okay. Right, it seems to be a different type of material. Transparent BSDF. So this is doing something. Man. Alright, let's do a mix shader. I'm following some kind of a, not tutorial, but some kind of documentation here. Shader, factor, surface, mix of glass and transparent. Yeah, I don't know. I want to keep the specular of that, so I'm not quite sure if I be able to do that. How to make transparent. I mean, this is one of the most basic material things to do transparency, so I'm not quite sure why that is so strange. This seems to be the normal setup. Alpha. Shouldn't just be the sheen stuff in material. Sheen is something similar to Fresnel for cloth. It's, as far as I know, it doesn't have something to do with the how do you say that? With the transparency. Let's see, roughness to 0. This way I have a few reflections. Shadow opaque. shadow mode, opaque. Alright, this is at least something, if I'm not mistaken. Should show a few things here. Strange thing. So it's covering the eye a bit more, but alpha blend for blend mode. Alpha blend. Alright. Thanks, Jay. Control transparency mount with color in trans BDSF. Now what I want, the only thing that I want to have is the refraction of the glass shader as well as the specular. So I think this is fine as it is now. Now there is no specular at all here, just transparency. I'll just leave it like that and set up the eye shader here. So let's hide the corner for now. So we can focus on the iris. Let's actually hide the head for a moment as well. Where is it? There we go. So, like this. Touche is not transparent overall amount. Yeah, I figured as well. There must be a way though to have the transparency in one shader with all the things here as well. Somehow. I mean, how would you do like a glass with dirt on it or something like that without the mix shader? I don't know. Strange setup. Maybe I will do the final rendering in Maya. There it seems to be a bit more straightforward, a bit more logically built, but I want to get it here in Blender for, I don't know. Alright, so having that here, I want to have the the subdivision surface modifier is in there. I want to have a displacement shader here and an image file in there. So let's go to material preview, not to bust our scene. Maturian saw that in one tutorial he checked the screen space refraction under settings for the material. I think then it's the rendering for Eevee, if I'm not mistaken, when it's screen space refraction. This is what it sounds like for me. I'm not sure if it's... Let's see. So, cornea. I mean, here in the viewport, it looks totally fine. But, yes, 0.5, like this. Materials, screen space refraction. So, I'm not quite sure if that changed something, but let's switch to the render to see. Alright, the displacement map isn't working at all. Let's fix that first. Sorry, today is a bit all over the place. So let's go to eye textures, displacement map, put that into the height. Mid value is 0. And the color space is raw. So let's see if that works or not. Alright, seems to not be too bad. At least it's not exploding, but it doesn't really show any details here. So I think I have to increase the subdivision. Brook, I know nothing about this, but I just watched a tutorial for transparency and they dropped the alpha setting all the way down on the main BSDF shader. So, like this, but then the reflections are completely gone. So it makes it transparent, but it makes the entire shader material transparent, so not the surface itself. But thanks for watching, man, or thanks for looking that up. And I really enjoy watching. Awesome. Yeah, it's troubleshooting time at the moment. Hopefully it's not yeah, too confusing. So I do have 7 subdivision levels, and I currently subdivided it to 4, and it should have displayed way more details with this one. So let's do a render view here again. Ah, I see. I think I know what the problem is, because I'm rendering in the viewport and not in the, yeah, there we go. There we see more details going on, because the subdivision modifier here is set to render, not to viewport. So let's see if that changes something. Yeah, there we have more. And let's import the texture map that we did. Image texture, color into base color, and let's open the eye texture and texture map. There we go. And I want to have that in the subsurface color as well. And let's give it an RGB node for the subsurface radius, because I want to have it a bit in the reddish, very slightly triggered. So random walk, subsurface to 1, and let's go closer with the render view. And render the eyes here, just to see. doesn't look too bad. I think the subsurface color can be different. Right now it's a bit too white, it seems like. So let's change that. More on the red. And let's put a subsurface color here. Maybe something like that. And do another render. Alright, that didn't work at all. It has to have these colors. Random walk is activated. Let's reduce it here maybe to something like that. I wanted to get rid of the wider highlights here, and I think that's okay-ish. Let's unhide the transparent things and do another render. It doesn't look too bad, I think. Alright, I think what I'm gonna try I make it less transparent, but for that I will, let's see, and it's completely reflective. Jay, how many polys you end up with? Like your higher stuff? I think similar to the stuff that I have here in ZBrush, so 70 million. Maybe like one subdivision below that, which makes it to like maybe 30 million points or 20, something like that. And the rest will be done with the bump maps, hopefully. Like there's always the displacement map, and when you have the displacement bump map enabled, then everything that the displacement map can't displace, it will be faked with the bump map to make up for the low resolution. And hopefully that will be enough. Otherwise, I don't know how well Blender can handle that. Transmission roughness, no alpha, nope. Let's do a bit of roughness here. Blender doing 30 mil. I'm not sure if how well Blender can handle things in render time. So since I will set this stuff here, the subdivision surfaces or the subdivision modifier during render time, maybe it handles it a bit better. $38 million right now. Oh, how does that go if you or if Blender struggled at 10 million already? Alright, roughness like that. I see, just doing BPR. I remember now. All right. Yeah, it's a big step from going from like the gray shaded model to like textures. I experience the reason right now why I avoid that most of the time, because it's quite difficult, especially I find if you're satisfied with a model, to do it justice with the texturing as well. I found that sometimes, or oftentimes, the models look less impressive through the texturing instead of being upgraded by the textures. So I colored the horns like brown and my heart hurt. Yeah, I know the feeling. Like the first renders I did of the complete body were like really disappointing, because nothing really matched with the expectations that I had. So, but if the textures are well done, then it can improve a model tremendously. I mean, like, great example of that are these renderings here, and the texturing job on these ones are on point. And I find them so much more interesting textured than they are than the clay renders I saw of them. So if I get to a level of texturing like this guy here, that would be awesome. But that is so far away still. But I think this eye is looking not too bad. Let's create a shader for this one here, the same way we did with the cornea. So shader for this one, and transparent BSDF. So this goes in here, and let's go in here for the alpha blend and opaque to the shadow mode, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there we go. Let's turn that on for just because the other thing is doing the same thing. Roughness really low. Who is the artist? Let me look him up. It's always good to give credits, but I don't know the name out of my head. So I'm just looking through the likes of my ArtStation for a moment. Hopefully I can find that person again. Not here. Give me a second. So the modeler is Niyazi Selimoglu. I butchered that name probably completely. But the texturing and shading is by Simon Gomez. Yeah. So this guy did the texturing and shading. So thanks Shreyas for pointing to Niyazi. I don't know how to pronounce that name. So now we have both artists covered. All right. let's see where's the difference between the two shaders here. So this is the right order. Oh, there we go. It's a bit less like this. Right. Yeah, they like to collaborate. They did a few projects together, and I mean they complement each other really well. So they're doing great stuff. All right, let's enable the head again. And hopefully it doesn't look too bad now when I'm rendering it. This camera to view. Maturian, need to go, was a blast to watch. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for stopping by and saying hello. So appreciate it and have a good day. And of course the skin didn't show up. Let's see, where is the reason for that? Head geo, there's the rendering button that wasn't enabled. Hopefully it works now. This looks much better. Looks a bit too human right now. But this is something that I will change offline. But I think the general setup works, or the direction at least. There's some artifact going on here, but it's probably due to the low resolution that I'm rendering with, like the subdivision modifier. But at least we managed to get the eyes in place. So I didn't anticipate it to take that long, but yeah, I think the rest I will do offline. So there's a lot of troubleshooting still ahead of me, I think. But yeah, so this was the last stream that I did for this character, since the deadline is on next Sunday. And I hope you liked the project. Sorry for all the technical stuffs or things that were going back and forth during that stream, but I think the eyes added quite a lot already. Hopefully I can get the rest of the model done. So stay tuned for postings on Sunday. I will post it on Instagram and probably ArtStation as well, like the submission for this challenge. And let's see how far I got at the end of the week. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the other participants. I haven't looked at any submissions yet because I didn't want to compare myself during the process to others. Probably it would have put way more pressure on me. So I wanted to avoid that. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining. And happy to see that you liked the stream as well. Thanks Estelle. Thanks Brooke and everyone else in the chat. Yeah, it was a fun time hanging out with all of you. Now I'm feeling a little bit less stressed. I was a bit stressed earlier because nothing was working, and at least the eyes are in place now, which is good, and things progressed. So thanks, Jay. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to get a good skin tone for this character, because I want it to have I don't know, believable skin, but not like healthy looking skin. And right now it's too spotty. Too like there are a few patches here and there that feel like they could be improved. But it's going in a good direction, I think. Hopefully I can manage to get the same level of detail and fidelity with the armor as well and the cloth. So less saturation. Yeah, I think so too. Right now, especially with the subsurface scattering there, it's all over the place. So I have to change the hue, or I will do some look development for the hues and all of that, and hopefully make the tattoo pop a bit more as well, or the carvings on his skin. It's a bit too green. Or you think it should be pushed more towards green? Then it's more an orc, probably. Yeah. All right. I think this is it. Thanks everybody. Like I said, I will be posting it later this week, and then moving on to the next projects. And if anyone is already going into their holidays for Christmas, I hope you have a good time with your families, or if you can, stay healthy, everybody. And I will see you on Sunday, probably, for the last stream of this year. After that, I will be gone visiting family and all of that. So thanks everybody for watching, and see you on the next stream on Sunday. Same time as today. Hopefully I can show a finished project. Probably not, but we will see. All right, take care everybody.